Hey guys, I'm Anthony Zanni on the A to Z podcast with Teddy Valentino. He's the third baseman for St. Anthony's Friars varsity baseball team. He's an all-leaguer and the team captain. Teddy, nice to have you, buddy.
Be here.
Absolute pleasure, man. Absolute pleasure. So how do you like the season going? We're starting what? March 4th is when the season starts?
Yeah, so we have tryouts on the first weekend of March. Usually those last about 5 days, and be able to see a couple of really great arms on the mound during those tryouts. And then from there, it's kind of just hit the ground running. I think we may have our first non-league game literally a week after tryout starts. So
amazing.
Yeah.
It's starting already. Baseball is here, baby.
Yeah.
Baseball is here. How are you feeling about this year?
I feel confident. We all know that pitching wins games, and I myself am not a pitcher, but we have 2 guys, 3 guys that can just absolutely shut down teams. And as a defensive, as a third baseman, I'm going to get a lot of plays from these guys.
Sure.
But being able to win is the goal of any athlete in general. And the fact that we're setting ourselves in that position it's kind of like dreams starting to become the realization. So
Absolutely. Who are the guys on the mound?
The top 2 that I can think of are Jason DeCaro and Torn.
Okay.
Casabama, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, but those guys are both absolute competitors. Torn's the one guy to beat Chaminade in the last year.
Wow.
And Jason's just Jason. We love Jason.
So basically 1A and 1B.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's great.
That's a good starting rotation.
Ugh.
Good way to start the season.
Yeah.
Good. So you're defending all-leaguer, right, coming into this year.
Yeah.
You're going to have a little target on your back, I'm assuming. How did you prepare for the season?
So this season, I didn't do basketball. I went to a place in Hotbog called Belding Performance.
Okay.
Belding Performance is all about being able to increase strength, mobility, speed, quickness, and I go there about 3 or 4 times a week. It's run by I think he's a veteran and an ex-baseball player, a guy named Adam Belding, and he kicks your ass.
Oh, that's great. That's
but
great.
I built up strength. I think I've gained about 10 pounds from last season.
That's incredible.
And then my dad and I will go to the turf a lot and just hit fly balls, ground balls, and work the works,
Absolutely. So did you have any weaknesses that you were trying to concentrate on coming into this year?
Yeah, so one of my biggest weaknesses last year, and if my dad's watching this, he probably knows what I'm going to say, was hitting. Now, against guys that would throw mid-80s, lower 80s, I could see the ball well, and I think I hit probably about 350 up until the playoff run. Once we got to the playoffs, we'd see more aces on the mound, more guys that could kill you with a curveball. So part of what I wanted to take in the offseason was not only increase my strength, but increase my IQ at the plate.
Absolutely.
So I've watched guys, I've watched a ton of Tony Gwynn, I've watched a ton of Ted Williams, Mickey Mantle a little bit, trying to think of more guys, but all these guys that really can speak hitting, Wade Boggs as well.
Wade Boggs, yeah, for sure.
And just figuring out what approach I want to go up with, so that way when I face, Jason in tryouts or, a person like Koshi for Kellenberg, I feel prepared, and I know the approach that I want to go against with these guys.
Yeah.
So hitting's a main weakness. Defense I have to keep solid because that's part of my, all-league thing.
Yeah.
And then really just getting the mentality to win, to be able to say, we're going up 7 innings to war against these guys. I have to be there,
Yeah.
So I think all 3 of those things were weaknesses last year where I would sort of, back away from a little bit of it. This year I really want to go and just say, whatever this team needs of me, I got.
That's amazing, and that's what team leaders do, and that actually leads me to my next question. What would you consider your strengths are? My
defense, I think, is a strength of mine. I can remember from maybe when I was 9 years old, my dad and I would go to parking lots because that was the only spot that didn't have snow on them. And he would just take T-balls because he didn't want to ruin the good ones.
Right.
And he would just hit maybe 3 or 4 buckets in the cold weather. And ever since then, we've kind of evolved to going to turfs, and going to find indoor places that we can field ground balls. And just working on, backhand, forehand, the small stuff, and then working to the larger stuff. So I've had the blessing of having that, him in my life.
Absolutely.
In terms of, what I bring on the field, I don't consider myself, a leader at all. I don't consider myself, I don't consider myself to be the main attraction of this team. All I can say is I want to be a lead by example kind of person. When this team thinks of St. Anthony's, they'll think of Jason DeCaro, and Torrin, but I want to be the person that maybe is a little bit more of a a darker night for this type
Sure.
of team, that, you know, an unsung kind of person that exemplifies what Coach Pars and, you know, Coach Greg want to look for in a player. So
Right.
I think those are my two strengths, and I hope I do them well.
Yeah, I can say just from seeing you play and watching guys rally around you, you indeed are a leader. So it's actually really interesting to hear you say that, you know, you're not exactly trying to be that. Like, you want to be, like you said, you want to be in the background type deal, right? You want to lead by example. You're not exactly going out there to rah-rah. But these guys, from my standpoint, they rally around you. And that's a quality that not many leaders have, right? Most people are going to be one or the other. They're going to be those types of, like you said, rah-rah type guys. And they'll be a leader, and they'll be very vocal. You are, you know, you are a lead by example type guy, but you're also there for your teammates. And I saw that firsthand. If somebody was down on themselves, somebody struck out, if somebody made an error, you're the first guy to get off that field, pull them over, you know, hold them, and tell them, hey man, it's all good. Let's get back out there. Let's get it. You know, you don't let the team get down on themselves. I mean, you did this when you were, what, 14, 15 when I saw this?
I think,
That's not normal, Teddy.
Thank you.
That's not a normal thing. Like, you have to understand you're like light years ahead of where most kids were. And now, you know, now you're an adult at this point, and like, seeing you growing up is pretty crazy to me. But I'm excited for this season because I'm excited to watch a lot of the guys that I coached personally. I'm excited to watch players like you. I really think it's going to be a heck of a year for you guys. I mean, are you guys thinking championship this year?
You have to, with the amount of depth that this team has, and this is going beyond just our pitching staff. But we've had winter workouts for the past 4 weeks, and from, you know, the top seniors to the lowest freshmen, everyone's there to just work, you know. And it's not necessarily to get better as an individual, but to come together as a team.
Right.
And that's one of the things that I really admire about this year, and makes me think, well, we have a shot at a championship, you know, because you want to do things for the right reason. You don't want to necessarily put the best players on the field. You want to put the right players on the field.
Absolutely.
And I feel like we have the absolute right team to go the distance, and we haven't won in 20 years. So
it's been a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that there's a lot of reasons you didn't win for 20 years, but
Yeah.
now you got the right coaches in place, you got the right system in place, you got the right talent, and it took a long time to attract that talent.
yeah,
But
I credit the guys from last year. We had Jack Villier, Taj Farmer,
Yeah.
Alex Solero, Quentin Vizza, Tom Napier, a lot of different guys that just were total lead by example guys, and
For
I
sure.
think that's where part of my inspiration comes from.
Absolutely. I mean, I know everybody you just named, and I absolutely love them. Amazing players,
Yeah.
but even better humans, which is, again, a very rare thing to say. Like, just, they're class acts.
Yeah.
And they make up St. Anthony's, and they make people like you and the other classes want to come to St. Anthony's to continue that tradition.
Yeah.
And they kind of put us back on the map, which is something St. Anthony's desperately needed when it comes to baseball.
Yeah, I think, you know, out of the group that I mentioned, all of those guys were, you know, main attraction kind of players. You put them at the forefront, you expect them to perform, you know, on the field, and they did more so, you know, than just that, you know, on and off the field. But the guy that my close friend was Lance Berger.
Yeah.
Lance is at Utica now. I think he's maybe at second base, but after school we would go and we would just take ground balls at the turf. This would be, you know, fall through the spring. And that mentality, I think, is carried over from him. That's saying, doesn't matter what season you're in, you always have to prepare for the game that's forward, the game that's next.
Right.
And I can't thank him enough for that.
Lance is a great guy as well.
Yeah, he's
I know
awesome.
Lance very well. 2 quick questions, okay? Role models, whether it be a non-athlete and an athletic role model, so somebody you're looking up to maybe in Major League Baseball, who would they be?
Well, look, I will pick straight off the bat my B-Ba. Now, my B-Ba died during my freshman year.
I'm very sorry for that.
Thank you. He was the person that really cultivated this love for baseball for me,
Right.
and among many other things. But being able to interact with him and, you know, not only talk baseball, but just talk about the life lessons behind baseball and behind sports in general, it opens you up to so many different doors and avenues of life. I mean, the whole aspect of hitting, you know, coaches tell you all the time, like, you know, it only matters about the next at bat. He was the first guy that really told me it does. You know, even if you fail a test the next day,
Right.
it's the next test. And if you're failing at them, enjoy life while you have it, you
Yeah.
know, because it's such a fleeting thing. You want to enjoy the people around you. And that goes beyond baseball, you know, that goes just, you know, to
Right.
life in general.
Absolutely. It's a great role model.
Yeah, he was awesome. About him, he put a he put a batting cage in my backyard when I was maybe about 7 years old. And my dad was, like, what are you doing? Like, Dad, he's never going to use this thing. For the past maybe 5 summers, I think I've spent half of those days in the batting cage.
It's amazing. It's an amazing thing.
I love it. But
Yeah.
it's my sanctuary. So
Absolutely.
now for the athletic side, let's see.
Is there a guy you model your game after or you look up to when you watch play baseball and you're like, I kind of want to emulate that?
Well, there's a ton of them. I mentioned Ted Williams before, just being a perfectionist at what he does and teaching about the beauty of hitting. But I think the one guy that kind of stands out among the rest is Mike Trout.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's the ultimate face of a franchise. He does everything right on the field and everything right off the field.
Yeah.
On the field, I mean, he's arguably the best player, ever to play.
Yeah.
But it's more so how he carries himself, just keeping his head up and being able to make, 300 average, look like 1,000.
Right.
And then the whole game in general, being able to miss a ball and still beat it out to first is pretty awesome, and then hit a ball 500 feet into the stands.
Certainly a 5-tool player.
Yeah, it's awesome.
They're hard to come by.
Yeah.
And then my last question for you, Teddy, where do you envision yourself? Where do you want to go? Where do you see yourself in 5 years, 10 years? Is baseball going to be a part of that future?
So the next 5 years, I'll be attending Emory University next fall. I'm not committed to baseball, but I'm going to see if I can walk on to that. It's a Division III program, and it's really great.
Yeah, for sure.
From there, I want to see if I can do a little bit of a liberal arts degree, and the plan from now, and I'm going to the 10-year track, but I want to see if I can get an engineering degree.
Nice.
And then work for Walt Disney Imagineering.
Oh, that's amazing,
I'm a
buddy.
big Disney fan.
Yeah, same here. That's amazing.
I love being able to dissect different ride systems.
Absolutely.
I went to a car wash the other day, and I was thinking about, one of the rides, how they will actually manipulate, and the person that designed that ride was actually at a car wash watching the machines move forward against the car that was stationary. And what occurred to him is when you move things around the object, even if it's not moving, it gives the illusion that the car's moving.
Right.
They use that in Indiana Jones Adventure in Disneyland. And
wow.
It's one of those things that I just kind of get, goosebumps thinking about.
That's really neat.
But I try to notice different things every day.
Yeah.
On, little aspects of mechanics, and how things work. But if I can go down the road and being able to bring smiles to people's faces, not necessarily right in front of them, but through a story that they love, I think that's a life well lived. So
I couldn't agree more. This was Teddy Valentino on the A to Z podcast, the starting third baseman for the St. Anthony's Friars, and the team captain. Guys, it's been fun. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, Ted. Thank you.